All right. Well, I don't know if anybody's actually here yet, but we are live. Welcome to the Saturday Social. Oh, three people in here. All right, cool. Didn't see any comments, so wasn't sure. Yeah. So here we are. Hopefully, hopefully the sound is better today because I got a new microphone. I went out and spent some of my hard-won cash on a brand new microphone. And hopefully the sound is good. Hopefully it sounds okay. And everything sounds good to go. Thanks for dropping in. We got a few things we're going to go over today and talk about once we get a few more people in the stream. I've got some topics to go over, some points of interest. We'll just see how many people show up today and what we feel like talking about. But don't forget here, you can see across the bottom of the screen, it says you're at the Saturday Social. So hit that like button and say hi. Just drop in a hello there. Want to welcome everybody to the stream, and we'll see how things go. Anyway, I worked a little bit on lighting this week to get the video to not look quite so. Hey, what's up, Bearded Doom? Uh, to not have things look so washed out. I did move the studio from the garage where it was darker, and I had a lot more ring lights and other lights to keep things lit. So I'm trying to make the stream look a little nicer. And then obviously I went out and bought a microphone because I realized that the little webcam mic just wasn't cutting it. It wasn't nice and clear. Right. And I went, hey, there's Stacy. What's going on? Yeah, so let me know how the audio sounds. Hopefully the audio sounds clearer, nicer. I spent a good amount of money on a mic, so I want to know if the audio sounds better than it has in recent weeks and maybe the past month since I've been up here in the house instead of downstairs. Hey, there's Lone Wolf. Okay, we got a few people piling in now. Nice. Nice. Lone Wolf's in the house too. Howdy, Lone Wolf. There's Stacy's jumped in here. And again, Veer to Doom. Sounds good. Okay, awesome. Yeah, hopefully it sounds clearer. It was always kind of garbled and a little kind of a little oversaturated, I think. But if it sounds good here, lighting looks good, mate. Audio is crisp. Maybe turn down the input just a hair. Okay, got it. We'll try that. See how that works. Made a little adjustment there. Boom. And we'll see how that goes. So hopefully it sounds good. Just one of the small improvements I was looking at making for the channel overall, and hopefully that investment pays off. So anyway, we got a few folks that jumped in here this morning, and happy Saturday to everyone. Also, before I get too far into things and we get into discussions and whatever else we do with Nice, I want to, besides greetings, I want to say thank you to all of my live stream listeners. So if you are just listening, if you're here, obviously one of the people here live, if you're one of those folks that likes to listen after the fact, and a lot of people do, and I pay attention to that because I get 35 to 50-ish people on my stream a week, but within 24 hours, there's a couple hundred views of my live. So if you're one of those people that watches my lives after the fact, I do recognize you. I do appreciate you. It means a lot to me. It really does help the channel grow, right? When you watch that stuff, watch these and you like them. The Saturday one is more casual. So, we talk about knives, but we also talk about whatever. So again, just thank you very much. If you're one of those people who's watching live in the stream, or you're one of those people who's just listening on a mobile device or whatever, great. And if you're somebody who watches it after the fact because of scheduling, thank you as well. Much appreciated. So I just wanted to say that real quick before we got too far into things and too far down the road here. So anyway, also I wanted to throw out a quick thanks to the people who moderate my channels usually, Mimo, Bama Ninja, and Gonzo. Those folks are all doing a great job for me, and I appreciate it. Haven't seen any of them in here today, but it's a pretty light forum, pretty casual chat. So that will be that. I've got a bunch of stuff I want to go over today. So I want to let the stream populate a little bit, see if a few more folks jump in here, and then we'll kind of get going with some regular content. Picked up a few new things this week that I'll show you that are interesting. Got an Apex knife another Apex knife that I'm really excited about reviewing. So looking forward to that as well. But yeah, let's see here. If you guys want, you can start throwing up your pocket checks and we'll just see what you got. And then we'll go from there. Hopefully as more people file in, we'll do a few more of those. But yeah, go ahead and throw up your pocket checks this morning and we'll just do a straight pocket check. You don't have to do anything fancy or throw in any extra information that I usually ask for. We'll just see what you got and I will show you what I got. So let's see here. A couple of other quick things too. Couple knives I'm not carrying today, but a knife that I've been having a lot of fun with lately is the Kvist PE in titanium, the original PE. And I really dig this knife, man. I've just fallen so much in love with this little bugger. It's been a great little knife. And it's not what I'm carrying today, but it's one that I happen to have out and was using for some tasks. So we got a few more people, looks like, jumped in. Bluminati Ninja just joined the stream. Good afternoon, sir. What's going on? Good to see you. Throw your pocket checks up. We're going to go ahead and just get started on those and see how things go. Josh Worth says he's carrying the ZT-0308 at the moment. All right, cool. Very nice. I like that. That's one of ZT's classics, the 308. Used to have one of those. Had one of those for a while. Kind of regret selling it. Let's see. Bearded Doom says he's carrying a Bastion Knives Oblivion. The Beard of Doom Hank from Forrest. Very nice, sir, Forrest. Quality stuff. Great guy. Excellent member of this community. An NJT hand-powered Damasteel haptic coin. Okay. Very, very cool. I like it, sir. I like it a lot. Let's see. Stacy's got a Kaiser Critical Mini and an original Murdered Out. Nice. Yeah, I like both of those. Like Critical Mini, I just showed that last week. Tuesday, not even last week. A couple days ago, that was one of my 5 knives, if you remember, on my 5-5 Kaisers was the Critical Mini. I love that knife, Matt Christensen design knife, and someday I hope to have one of his Mavericks. I don't know. A part of me is kind of hoping that the Maverick gets produced in a production version by Kaiser, but maybe not. Who knows? Michael Morgan, I was just talking about you there, one of my moderator extraordinaires. Thank you for dropping in, sir. I was just thanking all my mods. Hopefully Bama Ninja will be popping in here in a little while too. He's supposed to stop by and be on for a little bit. Stacy says, I just got mine back from Backpack B. He modded. Okay, I was going to say it's all blacked out and they usually come with a satin blade, right? So you sent it in and had some work done on it from Backpack B. That's cool. I mean, that's a cool knife to begin with, but yeah, getting it murdered out is kind of cool, right? I dig it. I have the gray one, but I dig that. Bluminati Ninja says, still in bed shorts, but sitting at the kitchen table smoking a cigarette. Have a Trevisa Lynx 04, Best Tech Bandit, and a knockoff Medford with a broken lock bar. Well, I guess it's a good thing that it's a knockoff, huh? And not one of theirs. But I'm just picturing that image though, too. Like sitting there in bed shorts at the kitchen table, got a cigarette hanging out of your mouth, flicking some knives, right? You know, like just waking up, just getting moving, you know, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, Bluminati. I freaking love it, man. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Mimo's thrown out some greetings, but he also says he's carrying a 4-inch Hogue EX1 today. One of my favorite knives. I have the 3.5-inch and I have the 4-inch. And I think the 4-inch I kind of like better overall. But yeah, they're both very cool knives. So dig that. Dig that Hogue EX1 for sure. So Beard is saying, noise, noise. I have a mini J cap boxed up to go to Backpack B for a thumb stud ad. Very cool. Spokane Vape Man is in the house. A couple people filing in. So if you came in late or you're just getting here, not really late, it's only been a few minutes, but throw up your pocket check for me. Just tell me what you're carrying today. You don't have to throw in anything special unless you want, but tell me what you got in your pocket. I'm going to go over mine here in a few minutes. A few people have already done that. Beard of Doom. He says, "Yeah, I was chatting with Bluminati Ninja when he broke that lock bar. I was laughing hard." Byron Kennedy is in the house. What's going on, my friend? Good to see you in here. Just going over some stuff, just chatting, letting the chat fill up a little bit, and throwing out pocket checks. So throw up whatever you got. Let's see. Let me do one thing here real quick. Let me, whilst I'm thinking of it, let's go to, where do I want to go to here? I want to go to, well, let's just go right to, I guess Blade headquarters is good enough. We'll do Blade headquarters. We'll do that. We'll do Blade headquarters. So then I'm going to go in here and I'm trying to do a little more of this, guys. I'm trying to kind of get into the habit of showing off some things that people in the stream mention because I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. So there we go. That's a little better. So then if we go over and we look at the EX01, here's the EX01 here. So this is a pretty cool knife, man. I really dig this knife, right? I think this knife is super cool. I've always liked this. So they're 4-inch. It's got the plain tumbled blade, aluminum handle, and a great knife for this price, $187, right? This is from Blade HQ, but once again, a super cool knife, really interesting. I have this one and an EX03 and a 3.5-inch blade. So I really dig that. That's a very, very snappy little knife to have. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that. We'll go back to that. Let's see some other people jumping in here. Bit of Doom McMorgan, Stacy giving some greetings. Byron Kennedy threw up his pocket check at CS Recon 1, an off-grid all-day necker knife. So very nice. So again, there's more people in here. So I did two things this week. I changed the lighting a little bit to try to make it not look so washed out up here in the main part of my house where I have a lot of natural light, especially coming from this big giant window. And I also bought a really nice microphone. So I'm hoping that you guys hear me better than just with the webcam and the computer mic. I'm hoping this sounds good. I bought a nice fancy microphone and hopefully these settings sound good. I sound nice and clear to y'all. Let's see. Spokane Bateman has a Benchmade Mediator and a ProTech Run 5. Very nice, sir. Let's see. Darnell B is in the house. Hello, brother. Welcome to my Saturday Live. Come on in, sit down, kick your feet up, relax. Hope you have a good time. Let's see. Bluminati. I'm brainstorming how to make it a fixed blade. Oh, the broken one with the broken lock bar. Yeah, the knockoff Medford. Yeah, some other greetings going on. Bluminati says, I mean, I do have the tools and technology, right? There you go. I mean, once you screw it up, especially if it's one of those cheap imitation knives, right? And D2 or whatever they put in on them. Like, you might as well mess around with it. What do they cost? Like $30. So if you screwed one up or something, then yeah, just go for it, right? Let's see who else. Mike Jernak's in the house, throwing out some greetings. Again, throw your pocket checks up for me if you haven't done so already. We'll get to that stuff as soon as we can. So one of the things I wanted to talk about now that I got a few people in the stream here, again, once again, thank yous to the people in the live today, the people who are listening, the people who might be listening on mobile devices. Thanks. Hit the like button for me. It helps the channel a lot. And also to those who rewatch the broadcast, I really appreciate that. But one of the things I wanted to talk about, and I'll get to that in just a few minutes, is some things that I've been doing some self-reflection on my channel and on live streams, and I'll explain that in just a little bit. I just want to make sure I get all. Marcos Gamma in the house. What's up? Happy Saturday to you, brother. Uh, Great to have you here. I'm glad we got some people in here today, and we'll have some fun. I got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We can let this run a little as long as we feel like talking, but probably around 2 hours we'll be here, something like that. Let's see. Bearded Doom says to fix that blade, step one, open recycling bin. Step two, insert knife. Yeah. Well, hey, it's worth it, man. I mean, just messing around with it, seeing if you can, do something with it. I'd try to pin it. If it were me, I would pin it. I would take it apart and I would pin it underneath the blade and then put it back together and just basically, tighten down the pivot super tight. But I would pin it. That's probably what I would do. I just get in there and make a pin, man. Put a little pin in there. Bloop. Right. You could probably get yourself go to the hardware store and get some kind of, decent stainless steel, little pin from them, and then just saw it off and just drill it and stick it through there. Right. That's probably what I would do. Sig EX F01. There you go. We were just I just showed the Sig EX01 on the screen. That's one of the knives that Michael Morgan is carrying. So very good. Yeah, good vibes to everybody. It's a Saturday. Feeling pretty good today, and glad to be here and just hanging out with everybody. So Illuminati Ninja. That's what I was thinking, Mr. Correct. So yeah, so there you go. I mean, I had some fun with it, right? Why not? I mean, you bought a cheap knife, it broke, and maybe you can modify it a little bit and make it into something different, right? I mean, there's enough metal there to make it fixy, so why not? I don't know. I mean, I would probably trust my own work. So Bearded Doom says, if the lock bar snapped, would you trust the rest of it after it's been drilled and pinned? How to lose fingers 101. I would trust my own work. Like if I drilled it and I put a decent sized pin in there and then I basically cranked the pivot down, right? Whatever, so that it wasn't going anywhere, I probably would feel pretty good about that. I mean, it's a project. You'd know if it didn't feel solid or the pin started to wobble in there, get a little loose or whatever, then yeah, then you'd know you could just toss it in the trash, right? But no, if you wanted a project, I think that would be pretty cool. I think that would be a good thing to do. So anyway, it looks like most of the people that are in here that wanted to throw up pocket checks threw them up. So let me tell you what I got before I get into some other topics. I am carrying a couple of knives. I am carrying a Apex knife that I just got. Yeah, definitely just have some fun with it. Exactly, Illuminati Ninja. Just a project. Just have some fun. But let me show you what I got here. So I am, and don't forget to hit the like button if you jumped in here. Right, hit that like button for me before we get too far down the rabbit hole with knives. So the Apex knife that I just got in the mail is the Giant Mouse Ace Corda. This is a really, really cool knife. And believe it or not, this exact version, this all blacked out one with the black G10, black frame, black clip, and DLC coated black blade, is the exact version of this knife I was thinking about. So I got this in. It's got a beautiful, look at this brass backspacer on this thing. Really makes this knife pop, doesn't it? Doesn't that look really cool? I think it looks really cool. It doesn't matter if you think it looks really cool. I think it looks really cool. I'm only kidding. But anyway, I think that looks pretty badass. The all black knife with that brass bead, kind of sandblasted brass backspacer on it. It does make the knife a little handle heavy, but this is a super cool knife. I am highly impressed with this M390 steel from Ace Giant Mouse. This is the Corda murdered out with a brass backspacer. So anyway, yeah. So this is what I'm carrying today. I just got this in yesterday. This came from Brandon Thrasher. He had it on the list before me. I will be reviewing this knife this coming week. So there you go. That's one thing I had. And then I also am carrying my little brass Pog pocket EDC coin looking thing. I dig this, man. I know it's supposed to maybe be a Pog Slammer, but I don't care. It's a cool EDC pocket fidget item. I am carrying a green. Come on, focus. Well, anyway, a green i3 EOS. I dig these little lights too. Mrs. Edge fidget ball in red, white, and blue. You might have noticed I've been making more of these lately for my giveaways. And then my main knife I'm carrying today is also got a dark green finish to it. This is the Medford Praetorian Slim. And I have to say, this might be one of my favorites so far out of the Medfords. There you go. You can see it's got a few scratches and stuff on it. It's a loaner. And it's from Saturday. But I'm really digging this little bad boy. I think this knife in a different colorway, if I could find one of these on the secondary market, I like the black blade, but if I could find one of these used somewhere that was up for sale, I would probably make this purchase. Thus far, I like this knife a lot. I'm digging it. And then finally, to go along with this whole theme, I have a Mrs. Edge handkerchief today. This has got the jungle theme. Some of you, if you watched my recent review of the QSP leopard, right, a jungle cat, will notice that this was my background. This was my background hank for the leopard review. And there you go. This is one of my many hanks. So that is what I am carrying today. Those are the knives of Eionan's pocket for Saturday. And had a lot of fun with these. Definitely having a lot of fun with these. Let's see. What do we got for comments in here? The Hank's so pretty. Yeah, awesome Hank from Mrs. Edge. It is, one of the things I realized, my wife has been doing fabrics and quiltings for years. Like she's super, super talented. Like it's crazy the amount of stuff that she's good at. It really is. I'm not just saying that because she's my wife. It's astounding the amount of crafting, jewelry, painting, knitting, quilting. I mean, just so much stuff she's good at. Anyway, yeah, thank you, Michael. Michael threw up her Instagram account. In case any of you aren't familiar with that, she does have an Instagram account. But she's had all these fabrics for years. And then I started going through them as I started doing knives and like looking at some of these fabrics she had and thinking, man, that would be really cool for doing a backdrop for this knife or, as an Instagram, pic, as a background for that. And then she does all this little hand stitching of the logos on here besides doing her machine stitching on the rest of it. I've made one trial handkerchief on the sewing machine, and it was technically usable, but it was not. The sewing on it did not look like this. It just did not. So it just shows you how very, very difficult it is to do a great job on sewing something together. But again, props to my wife. She is very, very good at what she does. So yeah, so let's take a look. I really dig in this ace quarter, so I want to go. Let me jump over here real quick and see if I can get us over to that page. Let's see the ace line. Here we go. And then I will share this up and we'll take a look at this because this comes in this comes in some different configurations. So let's share this up. Let's see if I can get this right here. Let's share this up. Let's see what we got. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Don't worry, guys. I'll get better at this. Let's see. So here we go. Let's hide that for now. And let's look at some of these and see what we got. So here's some of the ace knives. Let's get rid of stay connected. We don't need that. So green canvas micarta. Very nice. I like that. Not too bad. 195 for these. This is the micarta version. And then let's go back here a page and let's look at the natural brown. I like this natural brown. I have the Biblio with this on it. And you can see they did a little bit of a different blade style here. They did more of a satin blade style. But that's still a really cool knife. I dig that a lot. And then we also have the one that I have on me today. We have this one here, the black one. And again, I just think I just think it's a cool looking knife, especially for a work knife. It's got a DLC coating on it, black G10, all black hardware, black frame. That's a cool knife. I dig it. I really dig it. I think it's pretty cool. Oh, wait a minute. So let's see. We got some more pocket checks coming in here too. So anyway, Byron Kennedy says, oh, so he's talking about some knives. So the Praetorian Slim, M48, Marauder H, and USMC Fighter are in my sight picture, leaning toward last two long-term goal. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The Praetorian it's still a pretty pricey knife, right? The Slim, let's go back to a full screeny here of me. The Praetorian Slim, I was kind of shocked by this knife. Like I didn't know if I would like it because it does have a much smaller handle on it. You know, it's definitely not a big knife. Uh, but very much like the Infraction, which I love, and I have basically a permanently in my collection now. This knife is a very good size to carry. If you're one of those people who can't carry a big knife every day, right? And I can't carry a really big knife most of the time at my job, this fits the bill, right? I mean, you might not want this knife because you've got issues with Medford, but you could always buy a secondary market one so you're not giving that money directly to them if that's how you should feel. But it's a cool knife. And I like I said, I gotta carry that some more before I get to Lone Wolf says he's got a mint Marauder H for sale. Well, Byron Kennedy. There you go, my man. There's a there's a Marauder H right there. You might be able to work something out. An S90B, he says as well. Ooh, not just S35 or S40, but S90. So that's very cool. I got two before those on the list first, but I'll let you know if interested and still have it. Thanks. Okay, yeah. Well, there you go. But that's okay. At least there's a possibility, right? And that's what we're here for, just to kind of throw some stuff around. So I wanted to talk about a couple of other things too. So I mentioned that I changed the lighting a little bit here today. I'm using a studio ring light with a different color source. I closed the blinds and I went ahead and upgraded the microphone. So again, hopefully the sound sounds really good. I hope it does because I bought this microphone because I realized it really sucks to do a live stream. And I have people who listen or people who rewatch or re-listen after the live and not being able to hear the audio is probably not a good thing. So I made an investment in a microphone. And I'm pretty happy with it so far. It's pretty easy to set up. Seems to be doing a good job. Hopefully the audio is clearer. Bearded Doom says, I came really close to buying the Smooth Criminal Auto on Knife Day when it was on sale for $350. And yeah, that's another thing. I've got to keep an eye out for sales too. There are a couple of those more expensive knives I want to save up for, but I've also got to like keep an eye out for sales. Make sure that, I use that money as judiciously as possible. But what I wanted to tell you guys was that I spent some time over the last week, and I think my live streams are pretty good. I usually get pretty decent attendance, especially on my Tuesday live. That's my main one, obviously. And I feel like they're going pretty well, but I wanted to try to improve them a little bit. So basically what I've been doing is I've been watching live streams of people whose live streams I like. And I've also been watching my own. I went back and looked at some of my old live streams, and I kind of decided there were some things I wanted to change. Small things like lighting and audio. Obviously, that helps people to have a better experience when they're watching or listening to one of my lives. And there's some more improvements, small improvements I want to make. But also, I looked at people's lives to try to figure out what I liked about them. I'm going to give you some examples. I love Cole's Tri-State EDC. I love Cole's live streams. Cole's live streams are like watching a radio broadcast or a talk show, right? I mean, that's the way that he does his live streams. And sometimes he gets a little sidetracked down rabbit holes looking at printed onesies with unicorns and puppies on them and stuff, which seems a little bizarre, but it's always fun and interesting at least. But I realized that he basically spends a lot more time kind of chasing some little side topics here and there, and that kind of brings some diversity and some fun to the live. So I want to do that a little bit more. There were some things that Bees does. I try to catch Bees' live streams. I enjoy those. They're definitely different, but also enjoyable. Matt's live streams, there's a few people, Grumpy's live streams that I watch pretty much every week all the time. There's others I try to catch, like Zach's, and things like that. But I think those are some examples. And then I looked back at some of my old live streams, including my very first one and some recent ones. And I saw some things like when I moved up here, like I said, lighting, sound, things like that. But anyway, it was a very interesting process. It was interesting to self-evaluate my live stream to kind of get a little bit, better idea of what I could do better, right? What things can I tweak? What things can I kind of make a little more interesting for people? Because you're giving me an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours of your time on a Tuesday night or a Saturday afternoon like this. So I want to make it worth your while. I want us to have fun, but I also want to make it interesting. Let's see here. He says, I came really close to buying a Smooth Criminal Auto on Knife. Oh yeah, I read that. Shit, I read that. Let's see. He says the printed unicorns are my jam. I turn everyone onto those. Check out my new video to see that cat taco shirt. I actually did see that in the preview for the video, which I have not watched yet. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's nice to throw some fun things in there, especially on the Saturday one. I can do whatever I want. We can talk about anything we want to talk about. We're going to talk about some knives, but we're going to talk about other stuff too. And I want to try to lead you guys on a little adventure, a little story. Oh, there's my man Gonzo is in the house, brother. In the house. Well, good to have you here. We're just talking about some changes and things I'm doing on the channel. Byron says, FYI, the lighting and sound are fantastic today. Well, good. Those were a couple of things I identified. Like I said, I went back and watched some of my old videos and some of my recent ones, especially moving up here. I completely changed the lighting. The sound is all different up here. So I'm trying to get that as an improvement for you guys. But I'm also trying to add some interesting things. So Saturday will be kind of a test bed for what I do on Tuesdays, because Tuesdays are every week and these Saturday ones are twice a month, right? Every other week for now. And I'm pretty happy if I get 20 people in here, right? On a Saturday afternoon, that's great. Hopefully that continues to grow a little bit and continues to improve. And this is only the second one, so hopefully once the word gets out, more people will come in and look and hopefully want to hang out for a while. Yeah, Marco says, Gonzo reviews, always good to see you, brother. That is true. That is true. I really look forward to interacting with you guys, so I appreciate that. So a couple other things I wanted to talk about. I've got a couple other knives that came in this week too. So I showed you guys, and we went and looked at the website. I showed you guys the Corda, right? For those of you who kind of popped in here a little late, showed you guys the Corda. And a couple other knives that I picked up this week. So I picked up a Spyderco Native 5 in CPM S30V. This is the FRN version, which I'm not crazy about FRN. If you guys know anything about me and Spyderco, one, I like the Native Series knives, which this is, but I do not like this. I do not like these kind of handles, guys. I'm just not a big fan of these handles. I'm just not. If that's your thing, cool. It's not my thing. I like G10 on my Spydercos or or dark micarta or carbon fiber, but I'm not a fan of these. But this is a very cool knife. I have to say, this knife I'll be reviewing very soon. I've always liked this knife when I've held it at other times, and I picked up one of these. And there's a story behind this. So when I review this knife in the next week or two, make sure you watch this video because there's a very interesting story about how I came into possession of this Native 5. Okay, so that's one of the new knives I just picked up. Stacy says, I agree with you. FRN is not my favorite. Yeah, and let me tell you why that is real quick. I don't want you guys to think I'm just, oh, look at that. Can you guys see that? I just bit myself with a super, super sharp blade. Super, super sharp blade. Ooh. The reason that I don't dig this, it is grippy. You're not going to lose this knife, but it doesn't carry well for me. And what I mean by that is it doesn't stay in my pocket in a way that when I stick my hands in there to get my keys or my other stuff, like it's sharp. I don't need it to be that aggressive, right? It's like a freaking shark's teeth. So that's why I don't dig it. But I really like the knife a lot. I really dig the knife a lot. Hold on one second. Hold on, guys. Yeah. So there I am talking, flicking a knife. Everybody's done this at least once on a live stream, including me now. So there we are. Before I start bleeding all over the floor. Hey, so Stevie's in here today. What's going on, Stevie? I'm just patching myself up after slicing my hand open on a brand new, nice, sharp Spyderco. Yeah, I got this. I got this Native 5, and then I went and stropped it up really nice, and I was like, whoa, whoa, look at that. It's shaving the hairs off, and right, and I'm slicing through some cardboard with it and stuff, and it's nice and super, super duper sharp, and then I bring it on the live and slice my thumb open. Anyway, it's all good. I guess I should have kept the Band-Aid close at hand for these lives, but I forget about that. So anyway, channel upgrades, lights, sound, looking at some other features that I'm going to be doing. One of them I have here with me today we can talk about. One of the things I was hoping to talk about here, because we got a bunch of people that jumped in here. We got a few extra bodies that like Stevie and some other folks that jumped in. Stevie's throwing out some green. Stevie, don't forget to throw up your pocket check too. I got a couple more knives here. At least one more knife here I want to talk about as we move through the stream. But I wanted to talk about music. I love music. And I want to talk about an artist that I really dig and enjoy. And I kind of went away from watching him and tracking his music. I'm not wearing anything with pockets yet today. Touche, sir. Right? There's not anywhere to hang a knife from, is what you're saying. I got you. You could always just stick it down your shorts, right? Right? Stick it down your shorts. That's probably what Maddie does all the time, right? That's what he does. He just sticks knives down his shorts when he doesn't have any pocket. But I want to talk about music. So one of my favorite guitar players in the universe is Joe Bonamassa, right? I love Joe Bonamassa. I love him. He's freaking awesome. So, and I realized I've followed him for years. I love his blues playing. He's so Joe Casper just came in. He's throwing out a pocket check for me. Kauser Tay best Kauser blah blah. Let's start that over again. Joe Kasprick is carrying a Towser K Best Tech Beluga Phoenix. I don't know why I keep saying that. Phoenix LD30. He says, "What's up, everybody? Just got back from the father-in-law's 83rd birthday party. Hope everyone is well. First of all, happy birthday to him. Making it 83 years in this life is an accomplishment, for sure. And kudos to him. I'm glad that he had. Hopefully, he had a good birthday, and I'm glad you could be there to share it with him." Stacy says, "That's one of my boyfriend's favorite musicians." So yeah. So the thing with Joe is a prodigy, right? Joe Bonamassa was playing as a 12 or 13-year-old kid, was opening for BB King back when he was alive and still touring. And he's just one of those amazing talents, right? Michael Morgan said, "I didn't like you talking smack about FRN." Sorry, bro. It is what it is, man. Different strokes for different folks. I like their knives. I'm just not crazy about that handle material. And it comes on a lot of their knives. And my opinion is it fucking sucks. There it is. It sucks. For me, it sucks. I like their knives, but I'm not a fan of FRM. So I'll tell you the story of how I got that knife, that Spyderco that I just showed off, but I don't like it. I have two Tenaciouses. I have a Tenacious in G10 and a Tenacious in that freaking Shark's Tooth FRN crap. And the one in the Shark's Tooth FRN I never use. As a matter of fact, I'm giving that knife away at Christmas. That is one. There's a secret. There's a secret divulged to you guys. One of the knives I will be giving away at Christmas for my Christmas giveaway is going to be the Spyderco Tenacious. It is a exclusive from somebody. I'll have to look on the box. I got it. I didn't really care for the way it opened. I didn't like the scales, and I went shit. And then I bought another one in G10, and I'm going to keep the G10 one and give away the one in FRN. It is Coyote Tan FRN. It's a nice knife, but it just wasn't for me. So anywho, so back to Joe Bonamassa. So I don't know how many of you folks in there really dig music and follow him, but at least somebody knows who Joe Bonamassa is. I didn't follow him for several years, and then I kind of started listening to his stuff again. So what do we got here? Thank you. I gave him a nice flashlight. He's very happy. He did not want a chat jump. Sorry. He did not want a knife. Well, hey, that's okay. That's okay, Joe. Flashlights are one of those other things that we don't talk enough about in the EDC world. But yeah, you gave him a nice flashlight. So cool, right? At least you got him something that was EDCable, and that's a good thing. Let's see. Stacy says, "I traded my Tenacious for a DLB stainless steel trash can." Is that a double? Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I like the US made Spydercos, but I have three Chinese made Spydercos that I bought. They were my intro knives. The Tenacious was, like, for a lot of people, it was my intro. and then I bought a couple of other ones, and I've not been impressed with any of those 3 knives. Like the G10 Tenacious that I have is a blacked out version. That one's okay for the price, but honestly, their budget knives suck. As much as I love their US made knives, their budget knives kind of suck. It's truth be told, they really do. Let's see. I know there'll be differing opinions on that. Some people are Spyderco fanboys, right? Like you just like love all their stuff no matter what. Like maybe not to the extent that Brandt is a Hinderer fanboy, but I know there are Spyderco fanboys out there. Yeah. No, you're right though, right? But I mean, people like them. There's people out there who like them. But since I didn't use it, since I did not use the knife, and it's brand fucking new in the box, I'm going to give it away. I'm just one of those things. Like somebody out there in knife land will have a knife. I hope it goes to somebody who doesn't have a big knife collection, so that way they can get the experiences, whether it's good or bad. They'll be able to say, "I had a Spyderco Tenacious," right? Some people love that knife. They really do. I mean, it is definitely an entry-level knife into Spyderco's brand. So we'll see what it is. You're right. Here's a knife that fucking sucks. Love it, Stevie. It's true, though. It's true. Yeah, so Michael just threw out a Joe Bonamassa link. Let me see here if I can get some other stuff up on him. But the dude has just so much stuff out there that let me see if I can pull up a link for him real quick. And he's done a lot of different stuff too, right? Like he's played with a bunch of different people. He even has a side band. He has a side band that is called right here, Black Country Communion. So this is like an all-star kind of band. As a matter of fact, by the way, this song I have up here, let me go back here and get rid of Stevie's comment. This is called The Song of Yesterday, right? And this is there you go. This is absolutely a fantastic song. So if you guys are not familiar with Joe and his playing, there's a lot of places you can start. You can start with some of his old albums and all that. But I would tell you this, if you're into music at all, go listen to this song and tell me at some point after you've done that, if you don't think, you got to sit down and give it a serious listen. Let me know if you don't think that this sounds like a modern day Stairway to Heaven. Okay? This band in this form with Joe as the guitar player and one of the co-lead singers of this band, this song is freaking amazing. And I think that you will have it if you don't know who he is or you've never listened to him, you will begin to have an appreciation for what he can do. And then if you like this song, you can go back and look at some of his older and newer stuff that he does as a solo artist. Like I said, I kind of jumped away from him for about 4 years. I got busy, life got busy, we moved, all that. And then I started catching up on his catalog and I realized, man, I've missed so much good music by this guy. So this is a good starting off point. If you listen to this song and you like it, you will probably love the rest of his stuff. It is kind of Led Zeppelin-y feeling. It does remind me in places of Stairway to Heaven, but his guitar work on this particular song is absolutely phenomenal. And it will give you a good idea of what Joe is capable of doing. Mike Jernak says, so let me jump this back down here a little bit. Mike Jernak says, I still don't own a Spyderco. I will one day have a schmuck with fat carbon. And the schmuck is another knife that interests me from Spyderco. I really dig it. I think that the schmuck is a knife that I could put in my collection. I am not a Spyderco fan of any of the knives that have humps on the blades. If they have really big, tall scoops here where your thumb goes that you have to put your thumb up and over, or they have big humps, like the Khalsa, right? That is a no-go for this kid. It just does not feel right. It does not feel good for me. Let's see. Byron Kennedy says, funny you say that. He recently read a top 25 guitar list. Joe B wasn't on it, should have been, but Mark Knopfler was, so I kept reading. Yes, so let's talk about that a little bit. I will go back to full screen for that. So a lot of people, you guys don't know this, but I used to play guitar. I was in bands for many years. I played on a couple studio projects when I was younger. It was never great. I had to work really hard to be middle of the road. I don't play anymore because of arthritis in my hands, carpal tunnel, some other stuff. But I've always had an appreciation for guitar players. I remember hearing some classic guitar players, and it really helped add to my interest in music when I was young. But Joe has to definitely be in the top 25. Knopfler's there. Neil Schon is there. A lot of classic guys, Jimmy Page, right? So, and that's kind of, this is Saturday. We can talk about whatever we want. We don't have to talk about knives. That's why I brought up music. But Joe he's a throwback, right? He loves early roots blues, and he incorporates so much of that into his music. Robert Johnson, like he loved, BB King, Freddie King, those kind of guys, So all of those classic blues players, he has kind of sampled the menu for that, and he's put a lot of great guitar players stuff into his music. Stacy says he signed that lady blues player. He signed that lady blues player. She's awesome. I'm not sure who you're referring to. Joe has his own label, and that's another thing about Joe. Joe Bonamassa has his own label. He's his own record company. He's his own marketing machine. He's not beholden. I think that's why he's put out so many good albums. He's not beholden to a music label to do what they want. He does what he likes to do, and his music is blues based, but it's rockabilly. It's more bluesy. It's more big bandy sounding sometimes, and then there's other times where it's very, 70s rock and roll sounding. And that's, I think, why I love him. I think who you might be talking about, who, by the way, is fucking phenomenal. She's one of the greatest female vocalists I've ever heard in my entire life. You might be talking about Beth Hart. And for those of you who don't know who Beth Hart is, you've not lived until you have watched some Beth Hart videos and determined whether you like her. She is a freaking powerhouse. She's incredible. She's one of the greatest female vocalists I've ever heard, especially if we're talking blues-based music, stuff that's really soulful and really gutty. This woman has a register and a delivery that is amazing. Anyway, so Joe is one of those guys. He belongs up there at the top. There's a lot of other classic guitar players I really love. I love Neil Schon, especially his older work. So amazingly gifted, one of the best melodic players out there. I really enjoy him. I don't know, be love to be one of the winners. Don't have a real folder. Well, so right now, just so you guys, I've said this in my Tuesday live, but right now, I have 7 knives I'm going to give away at Christmas time. There probably is going to be more, because there's a couple of other knives I want to review. Oh, Joanna Connor. Okay, yep. All right, yep. I know who you're talking about, Stacey. She's talking about the female blues player. Yes, Joanna Connor. There's a few people actually that have toured with Joe that are really good. Samantha Fish is another one. She plays guitar. She writes all her own music. She sings. She has more of kind of a Oklahoma rockabilly type blues thing, but she's a smoking good guitar player, and writes all of her own stuff and has a very unique vocal delivery. So I dig that as well. She plays too. Okay, yeah. Joanna Connor does. Yeah, I was talking about Beth Hart, but yes. Nate just jumped in. Hey, brother. Hey, y'all. Well, thanks for coming in, Nate. We're just talking some music. We were talking a little bit about Joe Bonamassa, Beth Hart. Joanna Connor, and just some of that kind of stuff. Just eating up some time today, talking about some changes to the channel, which have been great, and new microphones, some new lighting, trying to make that a little better for you guys, and just kind of lead you down a nice little hour and a half, 2 hours of social time. But yeah, so anyway, music's one of my big passions. It's something that I love. It's something that I was involved in for many years. I sang in bands. I played guitar in bands. I've been up on stage a bunch of times. And so that's something I just enjoy. One of my favorite bands out there is Alter Bridge. I freaking love Alter Bridge. I know there's a couple other people like Papa Rhino and some other people who love Alter Bridge that follow my channel and my streams as well. But uh, for those of you who don't know, a lot of people are familiar with Creed. And by the way, Cole did the most freaking fantastically funny thing on his stream last week when he was talking about Creed. He was sitting there and he was like, oh yeah, like that. And I thought it was great. He was talking about how he's like, how could you not love Creed? No, the demise of Creed as a band was good for me, in my opinion, because the band members minus the lead singer, Scott Stapp, reformed with an amazing vocalist, songwriter, and amazing guitar player as well, Miles Kennedy. Now, Miles Kennedy was in his own family band. He was in Alter Bridge. He's in Alter Bridge. He's part of that band as his primary gig, but he also moonlights for Slash. He is Slash's singer for Slash and the Conspirators. And the guy is phenomenal. So Alter Bridge is a much better version of Creed with a much more talented singer, amazing singer, by the way, Miles Kennedy, and guitar player. And then it's all the rest of the old members of Creed in this band. So Alter Bridge is a band to check out. Their music is top rate. They've never put out a bad album. Some of their songs are among my favorite pieces of music ever. So you need to check them out. If you like rock and roll, and you like modern rock, then Alter Bridge is somebody to check out. Let's see. Byron says, I enjoy all the knives as I enjoy all music. For those here who do check out the Rick Beto YTC Great Appreciation channel. Okay, cool. I'll have to give it a look-see. Just Nate says, glad Scott got his crap together after all the. Yeah, the last I heard, he was finally doing better. And when they did that little reunion a handful of years back there with Scott Stapp, the Alter Bridge members, they took a break from Alter Bridge and they went and they got back together. One, because a lot of people were Creed fans were like, hey, we'd love to see these guys together one more time. But also because Scott was freaking broke. He was all messed up on drugs and what have you, and living in his car, some crazy stuff. And the rest of the band members said, well, we'll do this tour, we'll get you some money, we'll get things going again. But my understanding from reading some things I read, articles on that was not a very fun time for the band. Scott was still kind of not in a good place then. So anyway, yeah. So, but I guess he's doing better now, and that's good. I think he probably still could contribute some things to music, but Alter Bridge is just so much on a totally different level, like way, way, way above anything Creed ever did. How's everyone's audio? I could ask that same question because I got a brand new mic here that I just bought, and like I said, lighting and a brand new microphone, trying to improve the stream, trying to have a little bit better quality audio for you guys. Hopefully this is nice and clear and sounds good. And it's one of the many things little tweaks I'm going to make to what's going on. So let me talk about another knife that I have here. Let's talk about, it's been on about an hour. Let's talk about the Old Dominion Chupacabra. Yeah. This is the 3.5-inch Chupacabra. Ah, yeah. I'll tell you what, guys. This knife, this is a crazy, crazy knife. Like, this thing's got so many cool features built into it. It's got these little swages on the blade. It's got It's got, it's got jimping in the right places. It's just a tank of a little knife. I mean, this thing it's this a crazy knife. It really is. Um, Audio cracking, crackle and choppy sound. Huh. Well, that's freaking disappointing. Uh, that's disappointing if that's the case, because I just put a brand new mic in, so I'm surprised we're getting some bad audio. That's kind of disappointing. Anyway, I don't know what I could really do about that. Maybe I have the gain up a little bit too high. Let's try lowering that a tiny bit and see what happens. So anyway, this is the Chupacabra from Old Dominion Knives. It's a really cool knife. I got this from I have this on loan from Dave too. He went ahead, it had some kind of weird gold type coating on it, and he went ahead and bead blasted that off so that it's just the plain titanium. You can see a little bit of where it had the moku tie here, or Timascus, if you want to call it that. You see some spots here on the clip. So he went and bead blasted that all off and made the knife a little bit more functional and workable. I think it looks better this way. But I have this on loan. I'm going to carry this a little bit more, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on this. But my initial impressions of the Chupacabra is I really, really like it. Budget guy. No, you did not. Yeah, you did not miss stories. Although I don't do an actual story time, but I do. I will have a something interesting coming up here in just a couple minutes. Just a couple minutes. Hopefully that audio has gotten good. Okay, I lowered the gain a little bit. Um, the last 10 minutes your audio has been bad. I don't understand it. I haven't changed any settings either. So it's probably huh, audio is degrading. I don't know why that would be. Um, that's disappointing to me. It's frustrating. But anyway, I will soldier on as best I can. Hopefully it's better now. So yeah, so look for a review coming up soon on the Chupacabra. I will have that up, and I'm going to also talk about a couple of other things here. So I talked about some music. Yeah. So one of the things I want to talk about, because we were talking about bringing up some different topics, is I thought it would be kind of cool, especially in this format, which is more open. But you guys said sounds good on my end. Okay, so I don't know. So maybe some people are getting it. The gain must have been at the small amount of crackling the past 3 minutes is gone. Okay, so we had the gain up a little bit too high. Fine, we'll fix that. So you guys know I've done a lot of different stuff in my life. I've had a lot of different professions. I'm definitely not going to be one of those old men. I'm an old man, but I'm not going to be one of those guys who's like 80 something years old in his bed and go, well, I wish I'd done that. I've done a lot of stuff. So one of the things I did was I was a scuba instructor for several years. It was a much different time in my life, in my late and early 30s, before I got married the first time. And this is one of my favorite images from when I was in scuba. You guys see this? I'm trying to put it in a place where, so that's me in the Caribbean. And that is not an inflatable dolphin, folks. That is really me with a real dolphin. And I got to do that a couple times. I dove in a lot of places, certified a lot of students, and I really, really enjoyed scuba diving. Like it was such a cool experience. Um, and I was so comfortable in that role. I was so comfortable both as a dive master and an instructor to students, but also just being in the water, just diving. I'm not afraid of heights. I'm not afraid of being at depth in the water, despite the fact that when I was a kid, my dad used to throw me in the pool to try to teach me how to swim, right? And I hated that. I eventually did learn how to swim and became a good swimmer, both in the Marine Corps and then a professional diver. So odd that my initial uh, yeah, budget guy says, "Hey, Nice inflatable dolphin. Oh, wait, you already called that joke. Oh, well, I ain't typed this for nothing. Yeah, no, it's true. Like I've had some people like look at it and go, it's just sitting there. It looks like a statue or like something that's inflatable. But that is what the bottom of the ocean in the Caribbean looks like. It is beautifully smooth. The water is crystal clear, like you're swimming in a pool. And a lot of times you could look down at, like I did a wreck that was at like 110 feet in the Caribbean, this boat wreck. And we got to it and we dropped anchor over it, and it looked huge, massive underneath us. And it was a pretty big ship. And I'm like, this is the wreck. Like, and I go, it looks like it's like 20 feet under the water. And it was like 110 feet down. And it was amazing. So diving was something that I loved. It was like visiting a different planet. Because when you're under the water, it's just you and whatever's out there in the ocean, and you can hear yourself breathing and bubbles, and you're floating. So when you get to what they call neutral buoyancy, you're not sinking in the water and you're not rising. So you get down to whatever depth you're at and you adjust your buoyancy control device, your vest or whatever you've got on, and you get that set so that basically what you do is you're weightless. And it feels really beautiful and really comfortable. And then, as you breathe in, you raise a little bit up in the water, and then as you exhale, you decline. But that buoyancy vest that you have adjusts that, so you can kind of stay at whatever height you want. If you want to raise up a little bit over a reef, you can take in a breath, or you can just add a little bit of air to your BC device, and boom, you stay completely neutral. So it's like flying through the ocean. It really is. When I tell you guys that, that's the truth. It's like flying through the ocean. And if you're going on a reef and you're looking at all this beautiful marine life, or you're in the Caribbean where there's so many things and so many things to look at and see, it's just an absolutely amazing experience. Now, and it's not for everybody, because some people don't like the water, or some people feel claustrophobic with a mask on and a regulator in their mouth or whatever. But yeah, but it's an amazing experience. So what's my favorite dive spot? Well, that's a good. So I think I dove in Cozumel. I dove in the Bahamas a couple times. I did a lot of diving in off the coast of New England. I dove off the coast of Florida once. I think Grand Bahama Island is probably my favorite place, because I went there for like 5 days, and I did like 4 or 5 dives that were just absolutely phenomenal, and every dive was like more exciting than the last one. I have dove with sharks, not on purpose. I didn't purposely go out looking for sharks, but when I was in the Bahamas, there was a dive we did where we were diving and we were following a whole bunch of like kind of reef systems that kind of crisscrossed amongst each other. We drop off the boat and get down, and you go along and you go out, you've got a compass and all that, and you go out in a certain direction. And then when you get to the, certain point in your air and your time, whatever, you come back, and you can come back whenever you want and get back on the boat. But I was doing a reef dive down there, and I'd have to look at my dive log to see what that actually was. But I was inside the reef, kind of down here in the sort of creviced part of a big reef. So stuff on both sides of me. And I came up out of the reef, and then like right behind me, there was this big blue shark. And it just kind of went right past me, like, and took off. And my dive partner was kind of like, oh my God, that's a shark. But I was like, yeah, whatever, if it eats me, whatever. It's not going to be a big deal. The Caribbean, the place I want to go to someday, I would highly advise it. Not only that, but you're able to swim in such a thin wetsuit. I swam, I dove in a polar tech. So if you don't know what that is, it is literally like, those polar fleeces that people wear? It has a little thin layer of that on the inside of it, and then a thin layer of neoprene and lycra. So it's a very, very thin suit. Some people don't dive in anything. I dove in a polar tech for that whole vacation. I was down in the Bahamas, and I was like warm. Like I would open up, unzip the top of my suit to let some fresh, cold water in. So the Bahamas is a fantastic place to scuba, snorkel, or just go and just enjoy the amazing stuff. I didn't know you were a Marine, Nate says. Thanks for your service, man. Love all vets and service members. I was a Marine. 87 to 91 active, a couple years of reserve. I was an 0351, which is an anti-tank assaultman and demolitions. So I got to blow stuff up, shoot cool stuff that blew stuff up. And I really loved it. I did. I was also a marksmanship instructor in the Marine Corps. I taught rifle and pistol. I was pretty good at that. I got to be so good at teaching people how to shoot that in uh, my last go round at Camp Lejeune before I got sent over to the Middle East for the first Gulf War, I was doing that as a secondary part of my main job in the Marine Corps, and they would give me the people who couldn't shoot because it's kind of an initiation in the Marine Corps. When you're new to teaching, they give you a whole bunch of screwed up students who don't know how to do that. And I just took it upon myself because I had shot on the rifle team in high school. We were state champs. So I just took it upon myself to identify what it was that was keeping somebody who was a Marine from being a good marksman, a good shooter. And I identified those weaknesses in them, and then I worked on those. So some people, it was trigger discipline. It was being able to breathe properly and squeeze the trigger. Other people, it was they couldn't understand getting a good sight picture. So I had a bunch of different tricks and tips I used with them, and I really, like went over the finer points with people and built their confidence. And I never had anybody in the 2 years that I did that job off and on as an alternate MOS, I never had anybody not qualify. Everybody shot. As a matter of fact, most of the people shot sharpshooter or expert, but I had people who could barely qualify who solidly made it in, solidly qualified and improved their shooting skills. So I'm very proud of that. I really am. I'm not trying to toot my own horn too much, but it was one of the few things in my life that I've been exceptional at. Unfortunately, shooting is a perishable skill. So as I've gotten older, my eyesight is not as good. So that has changed the way that I enjoy recreational pew-pews and shooting these days. So anyway, yes, I was a Marine. Yes, I did serve. I served in a combat theater. It was scary. Anybody who goes into combat and tells you that they weren't scared is probably mentally deranged, because I think everybody is. But the important part is to just put that aside and just focus on the mission and your teammates, the other Marines or soldiers or airmen or whatever branch of the service you're in. It's always important to just focus on that stuff. So let's see what else we got going on here. So yeah, so the Marine Corps was a great experience. I'll tell you this right now too, that if the service isn't for everyone. It's a big commitment. You're basically telling the country that you're giving them a blank check for your service. You're willing to do anything up to and including sacrificing your life. That's a really big step to make as a young 18-year-old kid. But the things that you gain out of it, the friendships you gain for life, and the ability to work with anyone from any walk of life, from any social background, any economic, cultural background, it doesn't matter. In the Marine Corps, we're all just different shades of green or tan, whatever colors you want to use, depending on what theater we're fighting in, right? But different shades of camouflage. And that's the beautiful thing about it, right? You don't look at the guy next to you and think, oh, he's from the inner city of Philadelphia. He's not my friend. I never, ever thought that when I was a Marine. I would just look at people for how competent they were as Marines and how good of an actual individual character they had, right? You learn to work with people that you don't like sometimes. Sometimes you didn't like people. Sometimes people really were assholes. There's plenty of assholes in the military. But you still have to work with them. Yet you have to learn to respect each other. And I think that just is amazing. I think that really is a good part of being in the military. So let me catch up on some other comments here. Nate took off, so I'm sorry I missed greeting him. I just saw that because the chat just jumped. Back to the scuba thing. Budget guy says, I have a fear of the abyss, though. Yeah, I can remember when I was down in Cozumel. I remember there was one spot we were diving where there's like a wall and you drop over the side and then you kind of take away some buoyancy. So you drop down. But like just off the edge of that is like this huge drop that goes way, way down. It's like really, really blue. And then it gets deeper and deeper and deeper until it looks black. And that's always a freaky feeling. Like when you know that you're floating in the water and there's something like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, who knows, that maybe 1,000 feet, whatever, but hundreds of feet down. That's just kind of like goes from bright blue to darker blue to darker blue to black to just completely like black hole. It is a freaky feeling. It's kind of exhilarating, but it's also kind of scary. Michael Morgan says, I'd only go scuba diving if I knew there'd be dolphins. Otherwise, what's the porpoise? Hey, porpoises are cool too. You'd enjoy diving with them. No porpoises at all, Mimo. Yeah, no porpoises. At least not there. So it's just Nate. Time to take a nap, 12-hour shift. Have a great night. Yeah. So again, appreciate Nate stopping by, even though we missed him. Budget guy says, the first time I shot a rifle, I hit 5 of 7 mid targets. My brother-in-law was impressed slightly. Yeah. Well, some people get it. Some people like can pick it up and get it pretty quickly and take to it very easily. And that's what we always say, that people are natural shots, right? Like sometimes people didn't need a lot of training. They're natural shots. You give them a few of the basics, and they understand it, and they can do pretty well with that. I was kind of like that too. It was something I was always good at from the time I was a kid. And despite a few stories I've told about how I shot myself in the head, right, like which I didn't, that's not really what happened. The gun actually, the slide on the gun came back and the sights hit me in the head when I was little, and that's how I found out I needed glasses. Right, I told that story before. I didn't know I needed glasses until I pulled it back so I could see the sights, and then when I squeezed the trigger, the slide hit me in the head and cut my head open. My dad thought I'd been shot. So yeah, but anyway, so that's a little bit about scuba diving, right? So it was a lot of fun. We really I had a good time. I really enjoyed doing that. Yeah, Stacy says no thanks. Yeah, and I get it that the ocean's not for everybody, right? Not everybody likes being in the ocean. But I can remember there's some really cool things. Like we went in Newport, Rhode Island. There's a lighthouse called Beavertail Lighthouse, and you can look it up. It's a cool place. And the reason it's called beaver tail is because if you look at it on a map, it literally looks like a beaver tail sticking out in the Narragansett Bay. I did a lot of diving in Newport, Narragansett, places like that. And then we went there, and it's an advanced dive. It's not an easy dive. So this is a place where me and my instructor buddies would go dive, or we take people that we like to spearfish with. I did some of that. I spearfished for a while. That was super fun. Spearfishing and scuba diving, super fun. But we went there to check this place out the first time, and it had, because of the hundreds of years of the tides coming in and out there, it had all these huge, like 3/4 enclosed tunnels in it that led out into the bay. You could just follow them down along the bottom topography and just go out into the bay. And so we did that, and it was super cool. It was just, you could get away from some of the surge there that was up above you. And although there was some in the tunnel, surge meaning the water pushing you kind of back and forth a little bit as you dive, depending on whether you're outcoming tide or slack tide, right? So slack is kind of the place where you want to dive. You want to scuba dive, right? That either rate at high tide or slack, preferably. You don't want to be on a major incoming or a major outgoing tide when you're diving, right? Because it'll pull you around. But anyway, we went there, and there was all these huge, big, I mean, I'm talking like they're like 10 feet wide and like 10 feet deep. Like 2 people can swim through there comfortably. And we're swimming through there. And then all of a sudden, like we turn a corner, and there's this huge school of sea bass. They're like, oh, like this big. They're huge. And they just like swim like right in front of like a whole giant school of a big fish. And they just swim right by it. Like if you just kind of hang there and relax, they just swim right by it. I saw a school of cod on another dive up there, swimming through the tunnel. A whole big school. It was like a freaking parade, like a procession of codfish swimming through there. So seeing some amazing stuff on scuba dive, while scuba dive, just freaking amazing stuff. Swim with dolphins, been around sharks, seen big schools of fish. We used to go lobstering. We used to get a lobster license, and you were allowed to bring up, as long as you gauged them with a lobster gauge, and they were legal. You paid for the lobster license. You were able to bring up as many as you could carry in a bag on a single scuba diver. So we'd go get a whole bunch of. We'd go at night. That's when you want to go. You just bring a light down with you, and you shine a light on them like this. Put your hand behind them, and they back right up into your hand. Bloop, and you catch them from the tail, and then you gauge them. And if they're good to go, you stick them in the bag. Caught yourself a lobster. So we used to do that all the time too. We used to get lobsters, and then we'd get a whole bunch of friends together, and we'd have a lobster. We'd boil lobsters, and we'd have some people bring beer and stuff, and we'd hang out that weekend in the backyard, and we would have a good time, party, and eat lobster. You do that a few times a summer, and you eat one time actually, you've easily paid for your license. Byron Kennedy says the military is one of the first places where some people learn that helping someone overcome an inadequacy is the best way to earn respect and possibly a friend. I would totally agree with that. Not only would I agree with that, Byron, but I would say that that is probably one of the biggest things that most people get out of military service is they realize that you're only as strong as your weakest link. So you've got to, and I was an NCO, I was a senior corporal. You've got to, raise the people up around you, right? To do that job to the best of your ability, to be the best, fire team or squad or platoon or whatever level you want to call it. You've got to bring everybody up to a place where everybody can do their job well. You can't break people down. You've got to build people up. And then that results in friendships. One of the guys that I was really hard on, I told a story about a guy, I was really, tough on this guy. Not hard on, tough. I was tough on this guy, right? Because he had issues. He was not squared away. He was not doing the things he needed to do. I told you about I threw his underwear out of the barracks, the third floor of the barracks, and I, did some things to try to. But I'm still friends with him, and I talked to him years later, and he's like, I needed that. I needed somebody to get me, to kick me in the ass and help me get to where I needed to be. You want to try to do that in a more positive way, but sometimes you have to use that kind of those hard lessons, those life lessons, to get people to kind of, pull themselves up. You're helping to pull them up to where they need to be. Stacy says, if I practice, I'm very good at shooting. Yeah. And that's the other thing too. The more that you do it, the more comfortable you become with it, the more confident you become, right? And you put those skills to use. I notice that if I go and even if I haven't been in a while, and for a long time, we were going every month. We're members at a place so nearby, so we would go every month. And I would shoot really well. I would do really well. But then when I would miss some time, when I'd come back, if I didn't focus on the basics and I didn't keep myself, if I didn't shoot within myself, I would start to make sloppy mistakes with shooting. Now, I'm not talking about anything that's unsafe or dangerous, but like I used to shoot competitively. And I used to teach and all that. So like I would start to drop shots out the bottom. I would start to, or I would start to lose trigger discipline, and I would start to pull shots a little right. And I can tell by where a shot goes what I did wrong, right? I know, depending on where the shot is, right? When I would start to shoot faster, most of the time you would shoot low left, and that's because you're anticipating the recoil and you're, pressing the gun out there, not squarely and evenly. You're not, there's some things you're doing wrong. So anyway, practicing is obviously very important. I can hit bottom of a cake can at 50 yards with my 22 and put it in the same hole. That's pretty darn good then, right? That's okay. Oh, but a Coke can. I can hit the bottom of a Coke can at 50 yards with my 22 and put it in the same hole. Yeah. Well, 22s, it's very low recoil. So if you're doing everything else right, if you're your position is good and you're squeezing the trigger and you're breathing well and doing all that stuff correctly, a 22 is a pretty accurate little weapon at that kind of range, 50 yards or under. I wouldn't want to try to kill something at 100 yards with it, but yeah, I don't want to get too deep down the pew pew hole here. Budget guy says the first time I shot a shotgun, I was 12. My grandpa handed me a sawed-off 10 gauge. I was not expecting the boom. Laughed my ass off. It rocked the sights into my thumbnail and split it to the quick. Yeah, yeah, and that's one of those things when you first introduce people to firearms, to pew pews, you definitely don't want to overdo it because sometimes that creates a bad experience. That happened with Mrs. Edge. She had a bad experience very young and never wanted anything to do with it. And I reintroduced her to that and gave her all the proper fundamentals and all the education and support and brought her along slowly. And now she loves it. She has one of everything pretty much. And she loves to go with me. That's something that we get to do together when she's healthy. But the guy says, it's very awesome, Stacy. I'm not nearly that good. I never got no ranges down here. Oh yeah, I mean it's tough if you live somewhere that there's no ranges, or you live in a place where there's just not a lot of shooting to be had, or you live in a state that's not very friendly to that. That makes it difficult, right? You don't have land or public access land or ranges, or you don't know someone who owns some property that you can go and do that safely at. When I lived back in California, Stan, I had a good friend who owned a farm that had a mile he owned all 4 fields around the farm is in the center. It's 4 fields. And he had a mile of fields in each direction and had a big barn. And so I used to be able to go up there and shoot anything I wanted. When I wanted to go shoot long distance precision, I would go set a propane canister out at like 300, 400, 500 yards. And I would lay down and see how quickly I could get zeroed in, how few shots it would take me to guess and adjust the windage and all that stuff. And I would shoot long distance out there at his house, but I never had to worry about hitting anything. Fields everywhere. Right. So, and he had fields around his fields. So that was a cool place to go. Wild Man is in the house. Native Wild Man just jumped into the stream. Well, hello, sir. Welcome in. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget to hit the like button, folks, if you are in here. I haven't looked at how many likes there are, but I'm assuming 19. All right. Well, you guys are doing pretty good. I take that back. Relay that message. Hopefully the audio has been good now since I turned the gain down a little bit on the mic. And it's brand new. So hopefully that did the trick. Yeah. So we're just talking about scuba diving. We were talking about music. We were talking about pew pews a little bit. Something I did in the military and still do now. Stacy says, I'm glad to live where I can walk out my back or front door. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like, before I moved out west years ago, I lived in a farmhouse. So that was pretty cool because, I could walk out the front or back door and do anything I wanted. Nobody really cared. Yeah. So now I have neighbors around me. But it's a different time in my life too. So 20 likes now. Yay. So not too bad for a Saturday. Plus, a lot of people don't know that we're doing this. And like a dumbass, I forgot, folks. I forgot to put my placard up, my notice that I was doing a Saturday live stream until this morning. Right, like an hour and a half before this live happened, I was like, "Oh my god, I haven't thrown up an announcement that I'm doing a Saturday social today." So I thank you for those of you who I need to make the okay. Go do that and come back. We'll still be here for a few more minutes. But anyway, yeah. So I'm really happy about that. I'm really enjoying this Saturday thing. I'm using this as kind of a test bed for different stuff. And I hope that you guys are enjoying a little bit of time hanging out with me on Saturdays too. Byron Kennedy said, hi, budget guy, not to be rude, missed you while working in the shop. It's 5:00 here now. What are you doing in the shop, Byron? What we said, working in the shop. What are you doing? Tell me and the rest of these folks what you're doing out there tinkering in the shop. Or maybe you're not tinkering, maybe you're doing something really specific. Let me know, man. So What else was I going to tell you? There was something else I wanted to cover with you. What's huh? That happens when you get old, right? But yeah, so we're going to use Saturday as kind of a test bed for some ideas for some different things that I want to do. And hopefully you guys will continue popping by here on Saturdays and enjoying what I'm doing here, because it's been cathartic for me. It really has, to keep the live streams going. So far, so good. I will give you guys a quick update real quick on Mrs. Edge. She's approaching halfway through this first chemo session, and she's doing pretty well. Today was a hard day for her, though. She's feeling a little better this afternoon. But yeah, it's going pretty well. There's been some extra injections, and there's been some increasing of some side effects. The main thing is the nausea and the tiredness that she's been having, but she's doing really well, and she is hanging tough. She's fighting a good battle, and generally speaking, she's doing pretty well with what she's going through. So we're just going to keep fighting and keep hoping to hold serve with that. It has changed our lifestyle. It has changed what I do, but I need you guys to know that I appreciate all the comments, thoughts, and prayers that you guys are sending, and that my Tuesday live, and to a lesser degree, not a lesser degree, but to a different kind of degree, this Saturday when I'm doing twice a month has been really good for me. It's really helped me. It's given me some focus, and it's given me some things to put my mind on rather than just the hard stuff. So again, I really appreciate it. Let's see, Byron. Where was he? I saw Native said, "Sorry for the bad service last time." It's okay, man. It happens. I know when you're out in nature, sometimes cell service is spotty. It's not going to be the greatest. So hopefully that won't happen to you in the future. But I always dig checking in with you on your lives, man. I really enjoy them. I love seeing some of the places that you go and fish, some of the stuff you're catching, and just hanging out for a few minutes. And I appreciate you coming into my lives immensely. So thank you. So let's see Byron's comments. He said, "I'm a production manager at a cabinet shop, which means if I show up, some cabinets might get made." Well, that's cool, man. I dig that. I mean, I first of all, my brother's a tradesman too, and I feel like there's not enough of you guys left in the world. You know, I used to be a mechanic for many years and a computer technician, and I think those skilled jobs are something that we need to hold on to in this country for sure. We need to keep the cabinet makers and the countertop makers and the plumbers and the welders and the ship fitters and the mechanics and all of those people. We need those people. So you're one of those critical people who are critical to us, because people will never stop building and fixing up their homes. And yeah, so cool, man. I think that's really neat. Budget guy says, Mike Jernak sending some prayers. Cool. Budget guy says, one day at a time, bro. All good wishes to you. Thank you. Yeah, and that's how we're pretty much taking it. Stacy says, I appreciate having somewhere to gather anytime. Send blessings and prayers. Y'all take care and see you soon. Love y'all. Okay, Stacy, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it too. And Darnell says, we love you both every day. Prayers and stay strong every day. Enjoy each other. I totally agree. Wildman says, you're welcome, brother, and I enjoy you in my lives. Yeah, no doubt, man. I love watching them, and I love having you here. So, yep. So anyway, yeah. So we've had a pretty good live today. We've gone through a pretty good amount of information. I tried a couple new things on the live, which I think is going to be fun. And I also think that we will continue doing these as long as I get 15, 20, 25 of you guys dropping in here on a Saturday, and hopefully it'll grow. Hopefully, you know, some people will come in here and like hanging out and just talking. And again, I like to keep some knife content in here, so it's still knife based, but we can talk about anything we want on Saturdays. And I will use this as a little petri dish, a little test bed for some new ideas that I have going forward. But the Tuesday lives will continue. I will try my best not to cancel those, but again, we'll just see how therapy goes. Not therapy, but you know, chemotherapy for my wife goes going forward. And as long as it doesn't interfere with me taking care of her or taking care of our house or our lives, then we will continue to do them. And I'm really having fun with them, guys. I'm really enjoying them. I have a lot of cool ideas coming up. Um, the fall is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a giveaway for the Tuesday after Labor Day. I will have a small knife giveaway on my channel. We're going to do a giveaway for Halloween. That's going to be kind of cool. I'm going to have at least a couple things to give away for Halloween. And then I'm doing a big giveaway at Christmas time. So you're definitely going to want to be in my lives. And I think that will be a lot of fun. And those of you who watch the Tuesday live, there's one more word of the week. This coming week will be the last one. So keep track of the words of the week because you're going to need to do that. What else did I want to mention here before we wrap it up for the day? I wanted to mention this. Streaming across the bottom of the stream there. I do have a merch store now, in case some of you don't know. I do have t-shirts, hoodies, and some other swag. I'm going to be adding a couple more items to it. And check it out if you're interested in any stuff of mine. I did, Stacy, create a hoodie, sweatshirt just for her. She wanted one that had zip up with the logo on the front and the big logo on the back. So that's in there too. But check it out. I'm basically, all I'm going to do with the profits from that stuff is just use it to pay for shipping, because I am shipping a lot of Apex knives back and forth now that I'm part of that review peer group, and also giveaway stuff and thank you stuff that I'm giving out to other people. Plus, I borrow knives from other channels and they borrow knives from me. So we send those back and forth, and it helps with that. The next Saturday social will be Saturday, September 10th. So mark that on your calendars, every 2 weeks for the Saturday social. Also, Fully Deployed episode 6 is up now. So don't forget about that. If you haven't already gone and checked it out, do so, please. And once again, thanks for stopping in today. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad that we got to get the mic straightened out, that the lighting, the video and audio is better now up here, and hopefully going forward, it will continue to be that way. But anyway, guys, I think that's all I've got for today. I've really, really enjoyed doing these lives. Thanks for stopping in and spending, an hour and 40 minutes or so with me. That's really cool. I thought I would have a guest today, but I did not see them show up. They did not pop in here. So, oh well, that's the way it goes. Maybe I'll get them on next week. Also, going forward, if any of you folks ever want to jump into the lives and be part of it, you're more than welcome to do that. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Like I said, check out the merch store if you're interested in a t-shirt or a hoodie or a coffee mug or whatever. I will get some more items up there going forward. The Tuesday lives will continue every week, so catch me then if you can. And other than that, guys, I think we're going to call it a wrap for today. Had a good time. Enjoyed having you guys here. Thanks for being my guinea pigs and my minions. And I will see you next time. All right, folks. Have a good one.